Okay, so the album comes out on Friday. Have you just released the one so far?
No, do you mean in terms of how many records we've released?
No, I know you're on your third, right? Third?
Yes. You mean singles?
Yes, singles.
Yes, so we have released three. We just
Right.
released
Oh,
a new
geez. What are
one,
they?
yeah, last week.
Which one did you release last week?
Alien Spiders.
Oh, that's a fun song.
Yes.
So the one with Brandon from Crowbot, which is a laughter song, was he featured in the video?
That one we didn't do a video for. We did
Well, I
do a
thought
video
that's
for
what you
Amish Hex, but we didn't do a
Yes,
video
that
for
one's
Laughter.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you did. I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
No, you were fine.
Okay. Okay. Um, okay, so let's segue into that. So how did you end up getting Brandon on the album?
Honestly, it was literally just as simple as reaching out to him. You don't think things like that would
Right.
work, especially if you get to someone that is, kind of his caliber. But I
He's
just
so
reached
nice,
out.
though.
I told him kind of what we were working on and what I thought would be a good plan. And he reached back out and said yes. But not only did he say yes, we were all thinking if he did say yes, we would kind of send him something. He would, record it and send it back. But he's honestly like, oh, I really like this. Why don't we work on it together? Like, here, swing up my way and we'll work on it. I'm like, what? Like, you want me to come up your way and actually work on this with you? So that, man, that blew my mind.
Oh, that's awesome. He's such a nice dude.
Oh, absolutely. Like one of the nicest people I've ever met.
Yes. Have you seen them live before?
I have.
Yeah.
Back in, so I guess it would have been 2013 or 2014, before they released something supernatural, like their first record. um, I saw them at the Chameleon Club, and I hadn't heard like anything about them because they hadn't really done much. But tickets were $5. It was close to where I was at. I'm like, oh, I'll go see them. And then, when I saw them live, we had like just started the band at that time. But when I saw Crowbot live, I'm like, that is what a live show should be. Like that energy. I'm like, this is like the standard. Like this is what we need to do from now on because that got me so engaged.
Yeah. Yeah, their live show is incredible. So with that, you said that's what it needs to be. What is the most important? Obviously, the energy and the intensity for your live show. So what are some other things that you feel like are the most important for the live performances, or something you guys bring to the table?
I think kind of keeping it. I guess there's kind of two parts. So besides what we kind of already discussed with the energy, but I think keeping it lighthearted, because that's also part of our music. So, live, we like to kind of joke around. We like to smile and just have fun and enjoy ourselves and have that like crowd interaction. We don't really take ourselves too seriously, but we take the music seriously.
Of
So
course.
when we get to like heavier hitting parts, I mean, we're headbanging, we're going all in. Um, and we also have like we don't go all out, but we have like little costumes for certain songs. And when I say costumes, it's like if we play Cannibal Cowboy, we'll put on a cowboy hat. We don't go like all out and change, but we'll kind of do that.
That's fun. That's really fun. Make it a little bit more memorable.
Yeah.
So you guys have been together now for 10 years. How in the 10 years are you able to continue to have a good relationship with each other? Because I always say that bands are like marriages, there's ups and downs, there's difficulties, there's, amazingness, there's everything in between. So how do you keep it fresh all these 10 years?
Yeah. I mean, so when we started, we were all in like early high school. Um,
Yes.
and you know, I guess it was kind of awkward at first, with the exception of me and our old bass player, because we had known each other since kindergarten. But we just kind of grew playing together, and we also learned everything together. So I think like when, most bands are coming together, like that will be my age now. A lot of them at least have some experience, but we've done everything together.
Right.
So I think that has helped, just having us grow as a group, learn what to do, what not to do, sharing bad experiences and sharing good experiences. So now that it is 10 years later, we feel more, um, we just feel more like a unit. And now we're all just kind of best friends too. Um, and it's worked out amazingly. I did kind of allude to our bass player, and this gets kind of confusing, but he was with us for like 9 years, and he actually played bass on this record. But he moved to Maine, and that's like
Oh,
10 and a half hours away from us, so
yeah,
couldn't really keep that going. Um,
right.
so he left because of that, and nothing bad. Um, and then we got our drummer's brother to play bass. So
Oh,
that's
how funny.
kind of family connection.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, I'll bet was he pretty stoked?
Yes, he absolutely was, especially since he's been like, listening to his brother's music and everything. So he was ready.
That's really cool. Oh, how fun. That's so cool. Okay, so the song titles are hilarious. You have some very creative song titles. So far, I think my favorite songs are Mortician Magician. I like the diversity. I like how you have the words, in the beginning, and then or the magician, and then like maniacal laughter at the end, and then you have like a lot of musical switches throughout that song, which I thought was super interesting. So it's like really, it's like a journey all in its own. And then I'm gonna forget the name. Goliath's Light.
Lamp. It was close.
Lamp, that's what it is, Lamp. That one I is really crazy too. The whole album has a lot of diversity, which I love. I prefer. It makes it keeps it from being boring. There's a lot of different shifts. There's a lot of different styles of music. I appreciate that. But those two are the ones that really really stuck out to me. Tell me a little bit about them.
Yeah, and so Mortician, like when we started writing it, we knew we wanted it to be an opener. It went through kind of like different iterations, but what we knew we wanted was we wanted to create like an epic opener song, and we wanted it to just encapsulate everything that we are as a band and everything that we like. So that's kind of why you have like some funky guitar parts that it goes into. That's kind of like Red Hot Chili Peppers-esque. Same with like the bass,
Hmm.
but you also have just a really heavy chorus, and you have some gang vocals, and just a bunch of different styles. And it took a while to kind of get it right to where it didn't sound like a jumble mess, because if you just kind of tell someone like, oh yeah, I'm throwing funk and doom and all this into it, it's like, okay. So it took a while to get it right, but when we did get it right, that felt really good. And the lyrics for that, we wanted it to kind of be like, okay, if you went into uh like a Walmart and went to like the $5 movie DVD bin, like what would be a movie you would pick up? And we thought Mortician Magician would be that. So we kind of wrote lyrics around that. Um,
That's
and
funny.
then Goliath's Lamp, um, that one lyrically is about something called the Green Man of Pittsburgh. And it was about this,
It's
well,
always sunny in Philadelphia.
so the Green Man was about kind of like when this person was a kid, he saw like a bird's nest up in like an electrical line, and he wanted to go kind of see it, but he touched it and he shocked his face, and he ended up he lived, but his face was just very deformed. And so people made fun of him a lot. And when
Is this a true
he
story?
yes, this one we didn't make
Oh,
up. um
okay.
I
Oh,
probably should have
geez.
specified that.
I know I'm like laughing, and then I'm like, wait a minute, this sounds like a serious, real story.
Yeah, this one's a little more serious.
Yeah.
But he was made fun of all his life, and he didn't he liked going for walks, but he didn't want to walk during the daylight because people would stare at him and kind of make fun of him. So he'd walk at night. But because of that, kind of like rumors and legends came up about a green man who, had just like a deformed face and glowed green, and you could see him at night walking the streets and stuff. But it
Huh.
was a real person. But he kind of became like a cryptid in a way because of that. Um, but it is actually about a real person. So we'll take like a lot of uh, Pennsylvania culture, myths, stories, and we take like our Pennsylvania Dutch heritage as well, and we like to incorporate that in our music. But like I said, we
Mhm.
do like to keep things like lighthearted and fun, even when we are kind of talking about something that's like a little more serious.
Right. No, that's cool that you do that. I like that you've and I noticed that you added a lot of like Pennsylvanian folklore type things, but I didn't know with that one. That's really interesting. I wonder if that's where Green Man came from on it. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I'm gonna have to look that up and see. Um
Not sure if it. Oh, now I get what you're saying because okay, I'm with you 100%.
Charlie Green Man.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, for, I'm not sure. I'd have to look into that as well. But it
Yeah.
probably just because he's just like in that green like just suit. It's called Green Man. But
Right, but why? Yeah, but why the green suit initially? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're in the, same area. Um, okay, so that's cool. So what made you decide to go in that direction to where you were going to be tackling folklore and using that kind of as the inspiration?
I think I feel like when I listen, I listen to a ton of music. I mean, we all do, but I feel like more of it is very serious and personal, which I love because I mean we're all human, but I think for myself, I kind of wanted to be like another end of that. Where like, okay, well, there's more of this than there is just kind of more just general stories or just kind of making things fun. And
Mhm.
there was not really a whole lot of just. I mean, we kind of wanted to be what the Red Hot Chili Peppers are with California to Almost Honest in Pennsylvania. So
Oh,
we
okay.
wanted
Yeah.
to kind of be that, but we really just wanted to delve into things because I think those are experiences that no one else besides people who are here can really sing about
Mm.
or know to the extent that we do. Um, and just like an example of that, in Amish Hex, which I wrote at a big buffet in Lancaster, by the way. But
Oh, that's such a fun song. And it's such
there,
a fun video. You guys did a great job.
thank you. There's this dessert called the shoe fly pie, which is one of my favorite desserts. But in Amish Hex, I just kind of made the line "shoe fly die" because I thought it was cheesy and funny, but that's not something that anyone I think would really like say. And it's also,
Understand.
a dessert is very specific to our area, so I just kind of like to do that and just make it our own.
That's fun. That's fun. You're gonna have to say Pennsylvania a lot more in your lyrics if you're trying to be the Red Hot Chili Peppers of Pennsylvania.
What's annoying about it though? I mean, I love them, but they do say California a lot.
Say it a lot. They say it a lot. You don't ever guess where they're from. Um, okay, that's fun. That's really cool. So when you're going to, I mean, you've already said some of the stories behind the names and behind the songs. When you're going to do another song, do are you are well or just overall, are you doing like the research of the folklore that's around there, or is it stuff that you just already knew growing up? It's been a day.
Um, it's a bit of both, and honestly, it depends. Normally, I'm writing a lot before we even get to what lyrics are going to go with what. They'll have to change. But I mean, we kind of had to think about though, like what. How do I put it? Like what is specific to our area that is nowhere else? Because
Hmm.
we had to think about it in that aspect because sometimes you just don't know that things aren't everywhere if you grow up in an area.
Right.
But touring and talking to people and getting to kind of see different people's experiences and everything has kind of helped like, oh, okay, this is actually like region specific. Um, so it requires some thought. But a lot of like the stories and kind of delving into that, I do like to research. I'm also on the board of historical society in our area, so I kind of do a lot of historical research
Cool.
anyway for fun.
That's
So
cool.
I just kind of incorporate that. So it is research. It just kind of comes into the band, but it all depends.
And it's stuff that you already enjoy anyway, so then you just get to incorporate it into the band.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so cool. So I'm assuming they probably have books that have different folklore around your area too that are around your area. I mean, they probably have them where you could buy them from anywhere too, but like in I guess what I'm saying is, for example, in Boise, Idaho, we have haunted places in Boise that a local author's written, like, and it pertains to our area. So do you know, or if you have like books like that around the folklore that is just like a local writer that.
As far as like just hyper local, I haven't really found, but what I do like to do is there's this website called newspapers.com, which just has records of newspapers that go back as far as they had newspapers. So I'll dig into that for different stories and stuff of like our area and just kind of finding things. I always think that's fun. Because that's also not going to be something that's easily like researched. You're not going to just kind
Yeah.
of be able to Google some of that stuff. So I think that's fun too, and it kind of just adds to the lyrical content.
Yeah, that's cool. So moving forward, is this a theme that you're going to keep, or are you going to do different themes moving forward, or do you know?
At least for now, we're always going to keep it, but I think we will have, the songs. It's always going to be a theme,
I
but
guess
it
if
might.
you're wanting to be the Pennsylvania band, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's always going to be the thing. It just some albums it might not be the main driver, but it
Hmm.
will always be a thing.
Yeah.
We're actually so we're sitting on 40 unrecorded songs right now. We got to
Jeez.
and we actually just started recording an EP. We're not waiting around. And at least those four songs, one of them is very Pennsylvania centric. The other one is kind of a story of related to Pennsylvania, but you wouldn't really know it. And then the other two are just kind of one is actually more serious, and then the other one's just a story that we made up. But I'll talk about that at another time.
All right, that's fun. Because there's so much story related to these songs, have you ever thought about having like a comic book companion, or a book companion? Like, I know some bands are doing that to where you get to have the visual of some of the stories as well. Not
Yes,
that it's like just easy to do, but
I know. Well, so yes, but that's kind of why we couldn't. For this record, the Hex of Penn's Woods, we kind of had so in the music video for Amish Hex, we had that book that we're
Mhm.
calling the Hex of Penn's Woods. So
Mhm.
we wanted to have like a book that just kind of went through each song and had little kind of pictures and kind of explained things, and just kind of have it go with that theme of like just hexes. But it just really wasn't feasible in terms of cost and
Yeah.
finding just a way to get that. I wouldn't say published because that's not the right word, but printed. I
Mhm.
don't know how we would get that done, but we've talked about it, and we've also talked about doing like just collectible trading cards for our
Yeah.
song.
Oh,
Um,
that'd be great.
something different, but we had to find a way to kind of make these actually happen.
Yeah. Since D&D is so much more popular again since Stranger Things, like you can do like a D&D campaign with the different
Oh, it would
characters.
be fun.
I mean, it's all fantasy related, for the most part. Obviously, even with the true stories, there's a fanatical point to that with the Green Man. So yeah, I don't know. It's another possible route.
Yeah, I think so. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, yeah, I think it'd be fun too. Unleash the Archers either did or was going to do that. I think she did end up finishing. She did that with. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but their last two albums, she writes like a whole story, and they turned it into a D&D campaign that they ran on Twitch, I think it was.
That's really cool. That's a really
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can get, I think, fan involvement, is helpful to keep the fan base. Not only there's so many bands, so not only remembering who you guys are, focused on you guys, but also just that interaction. People love that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Is there a way, and have you talked about possibly touring with Crowbot?
We haven't discussed it. We've tried like maybe one or two shows that have come around, but we've gone through like management. which sometimes can be tricky. I know the one, like, it was just already booked up before we even got to it or knew about it. But I'd like to at some point. It may happen, it may not.
Yeah,
But hopefully one day we can always
that'd be
try.
cool. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're at this point, not I mean, they're even opening for some people. When we saw them with Necker Goblikon and Guar.
Oh wow.
Weird, such a weird mix, but it worked because they're so energetic and because, he popped out of like an alien egg, and so they still made it theatrical. You have to with those other two bands. But they fit in a lot better than I thought they were going to. But yeah, I mean, I think they'll probably be headlining shows soon, and that might be a cool end to have.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you been able to open for any bands in your area?
Do you just mean
Like the
local or just
No, like the bigger ones that come through town. Do you guys does any of your venues do that to where some of the local bands can hop onto the bigger tours?
yeah. We've gotten one a good bit. And it's been all over the place. We've
Oh,
opened for Revocation. Um, it was a so that bill was Revocation, Archspire, Cannabis Corpse, and Blackfast, and the crowd hated us. But I get
oh,
it. Like we had a great time, but I get it. I mean, people came for Tech Death, and we were not Tech Death.
yeah, right.
That was we opened for I Hate God and Escuela
Oh,
Grind.
oh,
That was
that
really cool.
yeah, that fits a little bit more.
Um, we've opened for The Obsessed, Telekinetic Yeti,
Oh, I love
Taupe,
them.
Moontooth, Astronoid, uh, the Mike Dillon band featuring JP of Clutch, which is super cool.
Oh, fun.
So it's oh, Alien Ant Farm one time. That was
Oh
weird.
my gosh, how funny. I didn't even know they were still going. That's
Yeah,
funny. Huh.
that was that was a while ago,
Yeah.
but yeah, we get a good bit, and I'm sure there's others that I'm not thinking of, but that's always a good time.
That's cool. Yeah, a lot of those, I mean, totally fits because you're in that like stoner rock kind of category. It's fun. It's fun when I have a hard time categorizing an album or a band because of the diversity in music. But is that where you would consider yourself in?
Yes,
Yeah.
we never set out to be that. It happened organically, and when we actually first started out, we were in the metalcore scene,
Oh
because
wow.
that was really big in our area, and also like
Mm,
around that time too, you got August Burns Red, Texas in July, and that's all like from our general area.
mhm.
Um, so we had a huge metalcore scene, and that's just where we started, and then it just kind of took a lot of I wouldn't even say trial and error because it's not like we were trying. It just took a lot of shows to kind of figure out like, oh, okay, when we played with these bands, the crowd was more receptive. Um,
Oh yeah.
and you just kind of keep going down that path. So yes, I would consider us like,
Oh
stoner rock, doom rock, but you know, could also be hard rock just just generalized. But
yeah, no, I think you guys have more of a stoner type of feel to you just because of the riffs. Totally stoner rock riffs. You said that you had saw gosh, I cannot say their name tonight. Crowbot, for $5 a long time ago. The first time I saw the Sword, it was at a small venue for $5, and I didn't know who they were. I was just like, oh, let's go to a live show. Isn't that
uh,
crazy?
that
It was the Age of Winters tour, so it was
the best.
insane. It was, yeah, I hadn't missed them since then for I think probably 10 years, and then maybe missed one when they had come here, but the ticket prices just kept getting more and more and more.
Not to get
Second
too
time I
off.
saw them, it was like $7, and then they just kept getting more and more.
I mean, that's good though. It's like,
It
hey,
is
that's
for
what they're
sure.
doing.
Yeah, no, I thought it was great because I remember, yeah, thinking those guys are gonna really go somewhere. And I think the first or second time I saw him was with Seamless as well,
Yeah,
which was Jesse Leach's from Killswitch's other band. Um, and they have you ever listened to them?
I haven't.
Oh, they're awesome. I don't know how to even I mean, it's a stoner rock kind of feel, but I don't know how to explain them. They're really cool though. And it's Jesse Leach, so they have incredible positive lyrics.
Yeah. What's your favorite Sword record? Not to get off topic, I'm just
Age of
curious.
Winters.
Okay. Could
Yeah,
mine is Apocryphon.
that's
I
a good one too.
I know, like, at least looking online, I mean, take that as it will. It seems like that one was like people were just kind of like, meh, but I'm like, that's my
Oh,
favorite. Like,
oh
what?
yeah. No, I think most people were unhappy with high country and low country, specifically low country. I feel like that one was probably third, for what people I guess, yeah, it goes in order then probably for likes, but for what people liked for the most part, it seemed like.
Yeah.
But I like them all. I don't know. People are way too hard on these poor musicians. I'm like, just expect them just to keep knocking out the same album over and over, like it's not gonna get boring.
But then, yeah, but then if you do that, then you're boring and you don't differentiate. But then if you differentiate, oh, you differentiated too much.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. I don't know how you guys do it. It's got to be exhausting. Um, but moving forward, so you have an EP coming out. You said 4 songs?
Yeah, we just started recording it. So no idea what we're doing with that. But we
Well,
just
this album hasn't even come out yet, so geez, you shouldn't have to know all these future things yet.
yeah, I mean, it's just so this record was kind of supposed to come out like, I mean, it could have came out like 2 years ago, if not sooner. It's just the pandemic
Yeah.
really was back. We actually started recording it in 2020. Um,
Wow.
and we were supposed to record it in March of 2020, which is
Of
pretty much
course.
when it hit. And then we didn't get into the studio until the end of 2020. And then just with, you know, oh, we'll schedule this date, and then someone getting COVID and just like a whole bunch of different things happening, it kept getting pushed back farther and farther. But we really wanted to get it right and take our time with it. So that's why it
Oh,
took a while. But we don't want to kind of have another 4 year gap in our music.
yeah.
So we've really been on it.
Well, so if you guys are already in the middle of recording now, are you going to be able to tour on this album?
Yeah, the plan right now is we're not going to tour right away, but we have a whole bunch of shows planned for March, April, May. So we're going to hit the ground running then. But
Awesome.
yeah, it's probably going to be mainly just like all East Coast, but we'll go from like Maine down to Georgia, so we'll get
Yeah.
pretty.
What's nice though about the East Coast is you get to hit a lot of states, where on the West Coast you can hit 3 states and that's a long, long gap between them.
Yeah,
Like we get skipped a lot in Idaho because there's such a huge space between Seattle, Portland, California, and Vegas, that it's just a long ways for people to go. So I get it.
yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys will be able to venture over here at some point though.
Hopefully, I mean the plan I guess would be, I mean if we did that, I guess we'd probably try and get on with a bigger act, or just get I guess some more securities in that regard, just because they all got full-time jobs and families and
Yeah.
everything, so it makes it very difficult as much as
Yeah.
we'd love to, but
Yeah, music doesn't pay like it used to, which is so unfortunate. As much as music saves us, it's so unfortunate that our musicians don't get paid what they do, enough to what they do for all of us. If the music was gone, we'd be a bigger mess than we already are.
yep.
Yeah, just hop on with Clutch. They always come here.
Oh, yeah. Man,
That
that would be a
well,
dream come true.
yeah, well, geez. I mean, they're nice guys too, it seems like. So, just send your music and
Yeah. I guess I had to find, management. I mean, we talked with JP and he was super nice. We met him twice. One, he actually came when we opened for the Obsessed. He just came to see him. So we met him then. And then
Mhm.
when he drummed for the Mike Dillon band, we talked with him then, and he's a really nice guy too.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. There you go. There's your in.
Yeah.
Just be like, "Hey, remember us?"
I'm like, who?
I don't know. Sometimes you leave more of an impression than you think you did. So what are some things I always have to ask this. What are some things that you yourself or you guys as a band do for like your mental health, for taking care of yourself, for making sure you're finding balance? I know music is a big thing for people for their mental health, but
I mean, I can't speak for anybody else, but I know for myself, hiking is something I enjoy, and just kind of like the silence of it too. I don't listen to music when I hike. Just being out in nature, um,
yeah.
and I also like to be with my bandmates. And I mean, I'm fortunate that I can say that because I know sometimes that can become more of a when I'm playing in the band that is kind of like its own job. But
Yeah.
for me, it's very therapeutic playing music, but just being with my bandmates.
Yeah.
That's it's it's just alleviates stress. And if I any opportunity I can get to play with them, I will. And also just kind of simple things, just reading, video games, just simple things.
Do you guys do any of those things together, like outside of playing music together? Is there anything that you guys like to do as a band?
Yeah, definitely just video games is
Video
probably
games?
fun, but just watch movies together, video games, just go out to a bar or anything. I mean, we're all friends, so we just do things that
Yeah.
friends do. It kind of used to be more like oh, let's do like a band outing, like a band activity together. But now it just has become more of a just hitting each other up, not even to discuss band things, but just to
Yeah.
hang out.
That's cool. That's good. I mean, keeps a good relationship, right? And keeps the balance, I'm sure, within the band as well. You said you like to read. Are you just talking about like the historical stuff and the newspapers, or do you like to read like outside of that?
I like to read outside of that.
What
Um,
kind of things do you like to read? What are some of your favorites?
I just I really like, oh, obviously history stuff. But I read Sapiens.
Oh,
That was a
I heard
recent one I
that's a
read.
good
It's
one.
just kind of like history of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm trying to name things that aren't really historical, but that is a bulk of it. I read The Believing Brain.
Mm.
Remember who it's about, but the book itself is about why people believe the things they believe. Um, so
Mm.
it goes from ghosts and gods to politics and just anything. Why people believe the way they do and how they kind of reinforce that.
Ooh, I'll have to check that one out. That sounds interesting.
I think that the author's name starts with an M, I think, but yeah, the book is The Believing Brain.
Great. Okay.
And I just read. I also just look over maps too. I know it's not really reading, but that. Um, yeah, on the spot I can't really think of it, but except *Sapiens* and *The Believing Brain* were the most recent ones.
Cool, cool. Yeah, Sapiens has been on my list for a while. I need to check that one out, but I haven't heard of the other one. It sounds interesting.
Really good. I enjoyed it.
I just finished this one called Zoe Ash is too drunk for this universe for this. I can't remember what the last word is, but it's a third book of a series. And he does a really good job of incorporating like thought-provoking things within his stories. His stories are just crazy. But there was one section of it that I really, really liked that kind of explained why people get so stuck on conspiracy theories. And I thought, that was really interesting. So that book would definitely pique my interest in that regard.
Do you happen to know the author's name?
Oh yes, he's my favorite. He goes by David Wong for the first like the John Dies at the End series. He goes by David Wong until the last book that just came out, and he goes by his actual name with which is Jason. I don't know if it's Pargin or Pargin. He used to write for Cracked magazine. Is
Okay,
that
so
how you know him?
yes. No, I don't know who it is. You're okay. So this is nuts. So at work today, I was looking for new podcasts, right? And there was this one podcast. I don't remember the name of it because, like I said, I just clicked on it today, and they were talking about that, like that book that guy wrote. So the name sounded really familiar when you said like the Zoe drunk thing. I'm like, that sounds really familiar. I'm pretty sure I was listening to a podcast, but it was literally just today. So
So it's the one that just came out last month. It came out on Halloween. Just yeah, a few weeks ago. I already finished it because I love him. I love his books. They're so great. But that's funny. So I'm not surprised that they were talking about it because it's latest one, but it is funny that out of all not only any I mean any subject in the world that's what they were discussing.
I wish I knew the name of the podcast. I remember the like picture cover of it. It was like a blue background, and I think it had two people in the front, like a guy with a beard, and then someone else. I don't know. I can't remember the
If you
name
think
of it.
about it, take us either send me the link or take a screenshot and send me the screenshot so that way I can check into it. I always forget podcasts are a thing. I need to check them out more.
I'm gonna pull up my Spotify here. I actually want to see if I just kind of have it on my recents. Oh, some more news.
Some
That's what it
more
was.
news. I'm gonna
Yeah, some more news. And I clicked on like the most recent one. They're joined by Jason Pargan. Is
Yep,
that the name of that? That's
yep,
him? Yep,
yep.
that's what yeah, that was I literally just started listening to that today. It looks like that came out November 17th, but
That's so funny. Yeah, this is the second. I don't have that one because it's in the room, but this is the second one of the series.
okay. Oh, yep,
But he goes by David Wong for a few of the books too. That's why it says David Wong.
okay. Huh. That's really funny you mentioned that though. That's crazy.
That's so weird. I mean, small world. I don't know. That's weird. Were
Yeah.
they talking good about it, I hope?
They were. I didn't get to listen to too much of it because I was just kind of skimming and looking for new podcasts. But yeah, they were talking about his previous work and everything and just kind of discussing it. But I like what I heard so far.
Yeah, those ones are more like a sci-fi horror. I don't know. They're like sci-fi action with some horror elements, I guess. His John Dies at the End series is just like comedic horror, but the Zoe Ash series is more sci-fi and it's comedic as well. But it, I don't even know how to explain his writing. He is a genius and so bizarre and so entertaining and makes you think. He's just great. I definitely highly suggest him.
All right, I'm really gonna have to give it a shot now. I'm not like
Okay.
a like when I read, I'm not I like to read nonfiction, but when I play video games and watch movies, like I love sci-fi, which is so weird. I don't know, like I could never get into it with reading, but I love
Yeah.
watching it.
It's
But
just
I'm
you
gonna have
haven't read the right sci-fi book yet. I am
to
tongue twisted today. What
it
are
is
some of your favorite sci-fi movies? I'll let you go here soon because I know I've kept you for a while, but what are some of your favorite sci-fi movies?
I mean, they're just gonna be literally very basic, but Star Wars is just the top. I've always loved Star Wars, but I don't care. People say it's stale, boy. I love it. Um, I also like the thing. Um,
I have not seen that yet, which is so crazy.
you have to the one
I
with Kurt
know.
Russell. That's the
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. The old one. Yeah. I need to watch it. I was going to this Halloween and then just spaced it.
Yeah, the thing's really good. Alien, super good. A more like recent one I just watched. Prey. Which is
Yes. The Predator one.
yeah, yeah. I
Oh,
thought
so good.
I really
So
liked
good.
it. I don't know if this really counts as sci-fi, but Attack of the Killer Tomatoes is a
I
good
don't
one.
know if I've seen that one either. I saw Alien for the first time this year, which I'm so embarrassed to admit.
That's all good. I mean, people probably I'm not like one for, watching movies like as they come out. I just kind of I don't even know how I pick what movies I'm watching. But
Yeah.
yeah, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes is nuts. I used to watch that when I was a kid, but it's just very goofy and stupid. Like the opening scene is just a woman washing dishes and then she hears like this noise. It's like, "Oh," and a tomato flies out of a sink and hits her in the head. It's really dumb, but I love it.
Sounds fun though. Have you seen Sphere?
No, it doesn't even sound.
Oh, I think that one's probably my favorite. It has Samuel L. Jackson, um Dustin Hoffman, I think Sharon Stone. I think that's who that is. But it's about they trying to remember the beginning of it, but they go to this area that all of these people that had been there previously, yeah, astronauts that had been there previously had disappeared from, and they're trying to figure out what happened to them. Isn't how it always goes with these movies. But there's this giant sphere, and they're trying to figure out what it is and what its purpose is and everything. And I don't want to tell you more beyond that because it's the craziest movie, but it's my favorite sci-fi movie. So if you like sci-fi, I would totally check it out.
Check it out now.
It
Definitely.
Michael Crichton, I think, is the one who wrote it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
Pretty
down
sure
to
it's
check that out.
the one. And I'll check out the Killer Tomatoes one. And then and then the Thing, of course, the Thing. I gotta watch that.
Yes, that you need to. You absolutely have to.
Yeah, I agree. Awesome. Well, I'm trying to think of if I have any other questions on the album itself. It's so great. It's so good. Every time I listen to it, it's one of those that I don't want it to stop. It's on Dropbox, and so I have to go to each one. I can't just like let it flow yet until it comes out. Then I'll get it and let it flow. But I by the last song, that's just that short instrumental. I'm always like, oh man. But then it goes, I started over again, and we get back into the aliens, and it's a really fun album. You guys did a great job. A lot of diversity, lots of very entertaining storylines and awesome riffs and really creative shifts, and it's a fun album.
Thank you so much. That really does mean a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully you guys can make it over here at some point, and we'll be able to officially meet and be able to see you guys do your exciting performance.
Hopefully one day. Fingers crossed.
Yes. Yes. All right, dude. Well, have a good rest of your night.
You as well. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.